What's up, everybody? It's Sparrow with a Gun here from Sleepless Nights with another episode on Space Engineers. Back again on the frame rate hog. I mean our Corvette build. That's our lovely Star Destroyer ship. Yeah, totally not hogging the frame rate at all. Which, you know, still hasn't been fixed quite yet. From what I understand, though, the update video mentioned that they were aware of issues in their thinking of, or in the process of, in the background, working on optimizations and things, which I was excited for because 12 frames per second. And honestly, this is not really a build that I think is that complicated. It's got some complication to it, but it should not be doing what it's doing in terms of frame rate. That's just me. I just don't think it should be. So, in the last episode, we bit the bullet and added a layer or two, actually two, to the right side of the ship. I'm looking at it upside down. It confused me for a second. On the right side of the ship. And now we're kind of working on adapting some of the things like the extendable weapons, the landing gears, the airlock system, all that kind of stuff to the newer height level. So there's a couple of things that, one, I've already done, and two, I need to do. The first being, we're still working out the airlock system, but I think I've got it pretty much down. It's just going to be how to decorate the interior around it and, you know, coat of paint kind of thing. But as far as function, I think we have a functioning system that I'm going to show in a second. For the landing gears aren't really that complicated because basically there's no conveyor system or anything to them. It's essentially just a landing gear on top of a piston, or a maglock on a piston. That's all it really is. Which actually looks somewhat uneven for some reason right there. That's weird. Let me double check that. It hasn't been... It's almost like it has an extra half of a block or something it can do. Or it wants to do. Which is kind of odd. But I do have it retracting properly, and it's inset properly into, well, the inset. This is what they were before. This is what I've currently got functioning. Now, if I extend this, like I did a second ago, we can watch it kind of buckle a little bit when it touches the surface. So it's like it has an extra amount of space or something. I don't get it. Now, you might notice that this is no longer inset. I did not even think about it, but there's a huge problem with that. The problem is... Wait for it. Okay, apparently my camera does not want to give me a third-person view, which is awesome, because that's exactly what I wanted to show off. Well, you know, we'll do it the old way. How about this? Like this, and then spectator mode. So here's the problem. This elevator is exactly 4 blocks tall when it extends from the base. So you have the base, but then from here it's 4 blocks, right? So the problem you're going to run into is the astronaut is 4 blocks tall. So the problem here that we're hitting is essentially, if I inset this, there's going to be blocks around it that are at this height, but this will still only extend 4 blocks. So the ramp was only coming down to here. Now, originally that shouldn't be a problem because your pistons are longer, so if anything, you have a little bit more clearance. But you can't get in the ship without crouching and jumping and doing weird things because your character is 4 blocks tall. So when you're 4 blocks, but right next to the edge, there's a block here, you basically can't get into it. And you could do a simple crouch if it were all the way down to the ground, and now I put a border around it. But because it's up 1, you kind of need to jump to get up to it. You can't just walk up to it. So it just ended up being not very conducive. So I got rid of the inset. I lowered the elevator again to 1. And then I actually used an idea that I had kind of thought of, but hadn't really thought up the logistics, but somebody else did in the comments and notified me, which is actually a good idea. And it ended up working out almost the way they described, but not exactly, and I'll show you why. So we're coming up here, and then in this little pocket, you might remember that this is actually the area where the pipe is on the other side that leads into this area and the conveyor tubes and all that stuff. So I basically cut out all the extra space back here and then just let it end up being a flat surface for now. That's part of what I was talking about the whole aesthetics and coat of paint kind of thing. That basically I just cut holes in the ship in order to see if things would fit, and they do. Now it's going to be a matter of basically properly covering them up to where they don't look so weird, or that this doesn't look like just a chunk in the bottom. And then there's a second elevator over here that actually takes us up into the main airlock area where we were at before. Now, there is an interesting kind of byproduct to this that I hadn't really thought of until like shortly before I started recording, and that is this. If I extend this, watch what happens. There's actually a door that comes up and seals this, and from my understanding, it actually makes it airtight. So the question here is that door even necessary, and is that vent even necessary? Because essentially, this has become the airlock right here. So I could put vents... What the heck was that? Okay, I think I just heard a phantom sound. Whatever. But you could put vents or something here, and essentially then, when this is extended, the air is pulled out, and then you can extend this one, and it's all fine. And then when this one retracts, you know, through here, then, you know, when this one's extended, then the... or whatever. Anyways, process. Whatever the process is that I'm not accurately describing at the moment. So I think functionally this will work. The thing is, how do we get it to look a little better, and do we need that extra door up there? Now, for the weapons, I think what I'm going to go with, I'm going to try it. We're going to test it real quick on probably this one. Let's test it on this one. Now, I can probably check them through the rest of the system through other means. So let's go into spectator mode. I don't really need the stats right now. I need to make sure I'm doing the piston heights and stuff correctly. But what I'm thinking is, as they sit right now, they will extend 2 blocks, because if I put a frame like before, they would basically just barely, like over here, there's a ridge here, and they would go past this one and then down one more. So they basically can extend 2 blocks from their current height. So originally I was thinking of stacking pistons, where you do basically a piston where this conveyor block would be, and it would just go down extra spaces. But I got looking at this again, and essentially if I add just, say, another conveyor, another tube, something like that, it'll extend it 1 block, but it won't change the piston extension. So at 1 block, they would rest in this crevice right in here, in this layer. But then 2 block extension would actually bring us down 1 below the rest of the hull, which is actually what we were at before. So what I'm thinking... Now, the only problem with this theory is I don't have as much space on the sides like I do here, if they're actually going through this. But if I can get it to work, then the thing that makes this interesting is we could actually just put armor panels on the bottom, and they would become flush with the ridge here, and it would look basically like the landing gears do, that they're sunk into the ship, but they'd actually have armor plating. So that's something I want to try. The only thing I don't know is how this is going to measure up. So what we're going to do first... I'm trying to think this through. What we're going to do first, I think, is build up the piston setting, extend it, build the missile launcher stuff, and then retract it and see if it'll clear this. And if it doesn't, well, then we got a bit of an issue. So first things first, let's get rid of all this crap. And I'm trying to be kind of careful because while I don't really need any of this, I'm trying to make sure that I don't break anything else. And with my frame rate stutter here and there, it's kind of proven difficult to be exactly precise about where and what I'm deleting, essentially. Alright, so we're gonna need more room this way. I don't know if I went... There's block there, block there. Okay, so I didn't go any further. Alright, so I think that is the proper distance, I'm thinking. So then let's do... How do I want to do this? Let's try a bend. And then the conveyor. And let's see if I've got... I feel like I had at least one hotbar that still had my pistons on it, but I don't think I... Oh, there it is. There you are. Okay. Okay. Now, from here... So that should bring them to a resting point of this. Okay. So, now what I need to do... you know what? Where's my actual astronaut? Let's just leave him over here by the control panel. So I can just grab this when I need it. Oh, boy. I think it's this one, because the current position is actually not 0.1, which is what the minimal one is set for, or 0.05. So let's reverse, and as it's extending, we'll set this to 0.05, and I may have to adjust this, I'm not sure. I may not have to do this at all, actually, because it's not going to be resting against anything, so let's leave it that way for now. Oops. Okay, so there's our piston. So, now, what kind of missile launcher was this over here? The 4-barreled, okay. And I think I'm going to change and make the front one the 400 millimeter. Because, I mean, you really only need 2 of those. What are you going to need a bunch of those for? Alright, so we're going to rotate... No. This way. Now, like I said, the only part that actually concerns me quite a bit is this stuff. Like where it says the collision box is not lined properly to clear that. I don't honestly know if that'll make it even with the blast door blocks, because usually, last time I was pulling it up to them, not past them. So it's a big risk, and I'm hoping it doesn't, like, break the ship or anything crazy. Where are... Oh, there it is. I was gonna say, I need these conveyors to line up. Now, let's see. Where's my... I know I have a hotbar with them. Where's my armor panels? They're there. Alright, so let's put armor panels there. Now, I'm gonna save it, because I have a feeling this is gonna break. Okay. Yeah, like, I have a really bad feeling about this. But, like I said, honestly, I don't actually know... I don't really even know if the, if putting blast door blocks will do it, either. Normally I wouldn't care, but frankly, my game takes so long to reload. I really need to clear out some of the unused mods and stuff, because it just takes way too long. Okay. So is it this one? Alright. Here goes nothing. Yeah, no. Yeah, no. I was afraid of that. Can I get him to come back down? Come on. Now that's really interesting. I just noticed the shield color changed. So let me double check. I don't think I had any block damage because the shields actually took the hit. That's kind of cool. That's pretty awesome, actually. So I'd almost recommend having a shield mod just for construction. Alright, so now we have the next attempt. Which, I have to be honest, the part that concerns me too is the corners. Because I can change these. I have these with the inset on them, but there's no corner blocks that have an offset. Or an inset, whatever. So that concerns me quite a bit, to be honest. That even if this works, the corners are going to get caught. That's what I'm concerned about, really. But only one way to find out. And that's to build. Alright, so let's flip view. I think this might work with this setup. But I really am like coin toss. It could work, it could not work. Like I said, my biggest concern is the corners. Because they have no shaved collision box. So it's kind of like, I don't know if it'll be able to see it any differently or if it's just going to clip them. Okay. Now, put our corners in. I think the real irony is I actually did this on my previous attempt at the extendable, wrong button, at the extendable weapons, and then I think they were in a position where it wouldn't have mattered, which is really funny. Because they didn't go into the ship enough for it to really actually be a problem. That's a good sign. Okay. That's pretty cool. I can live with that. So now they're kind of protected. Now, the thing I don't know, let's actually double check this too. Let's make sure it's fully retracted, or is it stuck? Its current position is 0, 0. Okay. So it's actually fully retracted. Now, I don't think I want to play with fire at this point, but if I really wanted to mess with it, because you can still kind of see them a little bit, so if I really wanted to tweak it, I would actually replace this conveyor with another piston, or this tube with another piston, and then they could actually retract up further, and you could set this second piston to be at a certain distance where it was like perfectly flush. But I don't think I really want to mess with it right now. So I think that will actually do, and we can apply that technique to our Gatling turrets up here as well, or our Gatling guns, because we can basically cover them with panels, and then the actual size of the opening won't matter because it's become its own door. So that's going to be really cool. And actually, I think I'm going to pause and probably redo all of these. Okay, so now we've got the weapons, I think, fairly fixed. Other than the front one here, because I haven't decided. I think I came up with that I had miscalculated the size of the area. Like you can see here that this actually lines up with this over here, so these would miss each other. And I think I'd actually come up with, I could go back and do 2 if I was getting rid of these doors. So I could put 2 weapons there, or I could leave it as 1, and I don't think I had really decided on which one I was going to go with. I suppose if I was going to do 1, I might bring it out a little more, but it's whatever. So the left side over here seems to be coming along nicely. Let's double check and make sure nothing breaks. I did save it before this. So I think we're good. This one looks like it's at a little bit of an angle. I don't know if that's a game-breaking thing or not. The only part that concerns me about this Gatling gun is that I don't see the piston. It's like, that's unnerving. Let's check their angles and make sure they're actually where they're supposed to be. Current position 0, 0. This says 0. I may want to give it like a 0.05 like we did before, just to give it some breathing room. And see what that does. I can see the piston now, so I feel like that might be alleviating some of the issue. Actually, that tucks in nice. Because you can barely see that. Well, okay, I guess maybe not. Maybe it's sticking out a little bit more. From this angle, it looks really good. From this one, you can see a bit more. That's probably due to the inset, though. I bet. Because if it wasn't for that, it would probably look a little bit better. But that's what gives us the clearance. So, there's that. So yeah, I think we have the landing gears and the weapons worked out nicely. They're protected, they're covered, they're pulled up into the ship. Everything kind of matches. I'm liking it so far. I like this better than what we were going for. This has come out better. And we figured out how to do the landing gears. I just got to go through and do them all. So the next step is going... Here's some things on my to-do list. As well as feedback needed. One is 2 weapons or 1 weapon. I mean, obviously, more guns is usually not a bad thing. But... aesthetic-wise, I don't know which would be best. Maybe it would be better to go back to the 2. But I need to figure out what I'm doing with this. The 400mm missiles. The other thing that I need to do is basically adapt this side over here. I need to go through and add the left side of the ship to, or the right side of the ship to its left. I'm looking at it backwards. And adjust these weapons and these landing gears and stuff like that. But for the most part, I think this side is actually pretty much done, other than the landing gears and whether or not we do 2 or 1 missile bay thing. But other than that, I think we've got a pretty good idea of how we're handling this. I do want to change, I think, this, the Mac cannon. I want to change this because I watched a video that one of my viewers sent me about testing these weapons. And, well, actually, before I do that, let me make sure this is the wrong one. Oh, I don't have my character. And when I was watching the video of them testing the weapons, I noticed that there's only 2 for the small... Okay, I do have the destroyer. Never mind. The frigate one seemed to not do any damage to light armor, but still did damage to heavy, where the frigate, on the other hand, did damage to both. I don't know if that was just a glitch, or if there's something about it being weaker. So I wanted to go with the destroyer one anyway. And apparently I just have a genius brain because I picked that one in the first place. It totally wasn't random luck at all. I knew that was the one I was supposed to go with. So the next few things, stepwise, that we need to do is heading back internally. This room needs a lot of TLC. This section right in here, since this has been newly added, it also looks terrible. I'm just gonna kind of block this in real quick. I don't even know if I should probably be using heavy, I guess? Just in case you take a shell towards the airlock. I mean, the airlock seems like it would be something you don't want to lose. I mean, that's just me. Your pressurized and properly sealed door doesn't really seem like something you'd want to break. So this is all sealed in, but there's two things we need to work on, and that's the aesthetics and the vent functionality. So there's a couple different ways we could do this. I'm still trying to work it out in my head, because these kind of have a semi-built-in airlock as it is. Now, the problem with them, the problem with these is there's no vent. It's not like the, this guy, the actual airlock door, where, like, you walk in and it vents the room and then the door opens. It's kind of doing them at the same time, as far as I know. And so that can be a bit of an issue, because you can be venting as the thing's going down, which is bad. So there's a couple things we could do. The first thing that comes to my mind, the absolute first thing we could do, is leave this the way that it is, which is totally a viable option. Obviously, we can still walk through there, not a big deal. All the, you know, angle blocks and everything line up, no big deal. So we could actually just leave this as it is, and we may want to. And then that way it's set up to where, let's see, I'd probably have a button, like here and then one over here, one for pressurize and depressurize. Or have one with two buttons, whatever. But you have a button over here, you click it, and it's going to, like, shut this door, depressurize this vent into the tanks, and then you could use this one and go down, kind of thing. No big deal. And then this whole section would all be depressurized, so you could freely go up and down. I think that's honestly the best option, because if I don't do it that way, I'm going to have to do a whole bunch of remodeling and blah, 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 blah. Now, the one thing that I do need to see through my spectator view is I need to get an inside the wall view of what can be removed and can't be removed. For example, this kind of stuff over here where we're seeing the gray, that's actually the ramps. I don't think I can do anything with those. I can apparently build here? Wait a minute, that doesn't... Hold on, that doesn't seem right at all. How is it that I can... I feel like this is just going to break everything. I'm going to save it first. Okay, this seems really shady. So this is elevator 6. We're going to go ahead and send this back up, because I got to see if this would actually... If this works, well, shoot, we've just solved, like, all of our problems. But I really don't think this will work. I did find that you can actually use your interaction key on the console, and it works like a control panel, so that's kind of cool. Let's see, MCM, what do we say, 6? There's only 3 of them. Oh! Well, I'll be darned. I mean, okay, so here's the thing. It looks a little weird when it clips through like that, but I'm willing to accept that for it to look a little bit better when it's not extended. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense, and I hope everybody agrees. Otherwise, you know, whatever. But, yeah, that could open up. Let's get another inner wall bird's eye view. Let's see what we can do here. So we've got a block behind this block that we could work with, because these are actually the visible exterior. So we have those, and then a steel block. Yeah, because there's basically going to be a block for every... There's going to be a block for every ramp, essentially. Okay, so we've got a block we can work with there. I think we've got the same thing going on here, so we could actually move this back one if we wanted to, if that helps us at all. Or another way we could do it is just change this to light blocks so that it looks a little bit better. We could also do a straight up wall. Ooh, you know what? I got an idea. Let's try this. And I don't want to spend a ton of time working on this. This will probably be things that I'll take suggestions for, and then work on a little bit before the next episode or something to that effect. But for now, let's just experiment here for a second. We'll do our typical one-side wall here and see what happens. Oh, I can build here. I'm very surprised on where it will and won't let me build. Because, like this, that seems like a place I shouldn't be able to build. Now, on the bottom, do I have any room? I don't, because that's the ramp we were running into before. Okay, so that's why I did it this way. I don't know about this. I mean, it doesn't look bad. I am just so surprised that it lets me do that. I mean, I kind of like it. Now, I could, if this was really bothering me that it's clipping into the thing, I could always do it like this, too. Where you put a little bit of something, but then it's kind of matching the shape. I actually like that a lot. We might want to... Can I punch that out? I think I can. I think I can. I think I can. Let's try it. Okay, nothing broke. Sweet. So... what we could do is something to this effect. And then change... Oops, I didn't mean to do that. I need that block. Sorry for the camera angles, I'm working in some very confined spaces here. So we could do something like that, which would help things out quite a bit. I like that. I like the look of that. And yeah, we could do some other stuff. Now, onto the sides, it's not as big of a deal because other than these ramp sections, this is pretty much all hollow back in here now. So we're kind of free to do a lot with this as we see fit to make it a bit more of an expanded, less cramped, more roomy. You could have LCD screens, you could have whatever. It's really this back section that butts up against the actual hull that I was going to have some issues with. But I think that works. I think that works. And we could... I think I've got enough space. I do. So we could do a, an angled ridge along the bottom here. I don't know if it would work along the top. I think it would too. So, yeah. Like, for example, let's do a one side here. First, we're going to get rid of all this stuff and kind of pad this a little bit. I like to pad the areas that are next to the hull, just because it's kind of one of those, like, you know, you're basically strengthening the wall around you in case you get shot or something. You don't want it to break on you. Oh, hi. That's space. So we could go out. Let's make sure we can do it on the top. Okay, no foreseeable problems in doing it this way. Good. At least none so far, until I totally run into one. I don't know why there's so much clanking going on in the background every time I break a block. It's kind of making me really nervous. Yeah, this one. This is what I was looking for. So we could do something like this. And then you can do something like this. You know. And we could do the same thing on the top here. Kind of like we've been doing through most of the ship. It's kind of got that angular type design along the edging. Because all of this is basically just extra blocks at this point. We don't really even need half of this crap. Woo, that was a little close shave. Now, because this is actually going to be down here as the actual hull, so I'm not super worried about this being heavy block or anything. But from here, actually, you know what? Let's do it from here. Let's do it this way. And we can go all the way along here. We can go like that. Yeah, there we go. I like that. That'll give us a bit more space. Ooh, and I can run this right to the edge. I don't think I could have I don't think I could have measured that any better if I tried. And then we can walk this up. Put a edge there. And put an edge there. So something to that effect. And we can already see it's expanding it out. It looks a little bit more open and not quite so claustrophobic in here. So, and then of course, like I said, when we actually do the rest of the bottom of the ship, it'll end up expanding all of this and cover all that up and protect it in heavy block like this is over here. So that is a very good start on remodeling this. And I do think, like I said, I think we're just going to leave this the way it is. Maybe redecorate the edging a little bit here and there to make it match a little bit better. Have more of a frame. And we'll have buttons and all that kind of stuff. But overall, I think that's still going to be probably the best option. So I think we're going to wrap things up here for this episode. In the meantime, I hope you all enjoyed. If you did, leave a like, and I will see you all next time. Peace.